All right. Welcome to Just a Moment Ago podcast, episode 20. Today I got JJ and Brandon with me to discuss different aspects of addiction and recovery. So, JJ, how's it going today, man?
Pretty good, man.
Yeah?
Excited to have the whole new setup and everything.
For sure.
Episode 20 already.
Yeah, man. And Brandon, how's it going? Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Pretty good.
Yeah, you doing all right today?
Yeah.
Didn't oversleep?
Shit. No, man.
It's actually interesting because a really small number of podcasts actually make it to episode 20. So, a lot of people by the time they get to 18, 19 are kind of iffy on it, whether they want to. So, but we definitely wanted to keep going. So, are you, you're open to talking about pretty much whatever, right?
Yeah, it's whatever.
Take us back to your early days when you were introduced to drugs. How were you introduced? What were you introduced to?
Pretty sure I started out with just weed.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was like 12.
12? Who introduced you?
Man, I grew up, this neighborhood that I grew up was just full of kids.
Yeah.
About the same age. And one of my friends stole a bag of weed from his sister. And we were all hanging out in the woods and shit. And he was like, hey, look what I got. We all tried it. It didn't do shit for me the first time I did it. The second time, man, I ran in the fucking house. I was scared. I didn't know what to do.
You were freaking out?
Oh,
Got a
fuck
little
yeah.
bit too... So, did you start at what point was it in your teens when you started using more, or were you like a casual user throughout your teens, or...
I stayed pretty casual for a few years, mainly because I didn't know where the hell to find it from.
Right. So it was just weed through your whole teens?
I think so. I didn't actually start taking painkillers or nothing like that until I was about 25.
Because that's my situation,
About 20,
too.
between 23 and 25 is when I started.
I was prescribed early in my teens for back pain and stuff, but I never overtook them until I was in my mid-20s. You know what I mean?
I got hit by a truck when riding four-wheeler and went to the doctor and no x-rays, no nothing. Doctor's just like, oh, that's what happened. Okay, well, here, I'll give you this.
So what was the appeal early on that when you were using? Like, was it like you're hanging out with friends?
My friends were doing
buzz,
My friends were doing it. Honestly, I never really liked the feeling of smoking weed.
Yeah.
Like when I was younger.
Right.
I'd always get really antisocial and just never know what to talk about.
JJ, the same thing with you. When you were early on, what was the appeal for you with substances?
For me, I not having any brothers or sisters, I always seemed to gravitate towards people who were like hanging out with people that were older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And, it seemed like, when you're a freshman, like 14, 15, like when somebody's like 2 or 3 years older than you, I mean, that's a big difference.
Yeah, for sure.
And that was a really big thing that I noticed is like the whole influence with it, kind of like how you were talking about, like, because your friends were doing it. And I just remember that that's pretty much how it kind of was, because I was just trying to, I don't know, fit in, or
Right.
I was just trying to, I guess experimenting like all teenagers do.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a really good subject because they always say, like, is pot so harmless, or is it a gateway drug, or
Right.
what is it? Because I do know for a fact that at one time or another that I was completely dependent upon just marijuana.
You would get agitated. You were really dependent on it to feel good.
I couldn't, like, if I didn't have it, I couldn't sleep.
And that's funny now because I don't see you being that deep with marijuana.
No, not at all. And that's what what I've learned is because I got into opioids and all those other substances, is it seemed to change.
Right.
The whole, like, whatever it goes on upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
That's now it's like marijuana kind of scares me to go there.
Well, right, because I know that you are picky about whether it's sativa or indica or hybrid because of the way it makes you feel. I want to dive a little bit into, though, Brandon has a second layer with all of this, and that was you've had some issues with theft. Like, are you open to this discussion?
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm not going to get major in it, but I do want to touch on it. Um, when did that start for you? Did it start out of need or want? And was it correlated at all with using?
I think so because I don't do it no more. I think it started because I've been a stay-at-home dad for years
Mm-hmm.
and never had no money, nothing. Never had no way to get myself shit.
Right.
So that was just kind of my way to do it. I figured out how to do it. Actually, I figured it out through a Google search.
Really?
I just Googled how to steal from Walmart.
And it just came up and gave you a good, like an actual thing that worked?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. And I mean that's kind of where it started. Like, I'd just go and take little shit from Walmart, and then it kind of got bigger, and then I was pushing out full fucking carts full of shit.
Right, because you would like hide it or something, right? Did you ever pay for the thing that was hidden, or you just walk right out?
You can't hide a fucking full cart.
Well, I mean, what about like a cooler or something though? You know what I'm saying? Like put stuff in a cooler, pay for the stuff cooler, and then
No, because I always thought that was one more step between me and the door. So if I could
True.
just make it out the door, because they do have a rule where the employees can't chase you.
right, yep. A lot of places are like that because they don't want their employees to get in altercations because it'll be on them, you know.
Yeah. So I knew that rule, and I'm like, a lot of the times I would, when I was walking through the door, when I was about to hit the door, I'd answer my phone, or pretend to talk on the phone.
Right. So then they'd maybe leave you alone.
And well, that way if they were like, "Excuse me, sir," I just
Right.
keep going.
And once you're out the door, then they don't come after you.
Yeah.
They just call the police and try to do it that way, or
Typically, I don't even think they call the cops.
No?
Like,
they're just like, well, that's gone.
pretty much.
But I do know that you've left that behind. Like you're not doing that anymore, and you're not in a program anymore either, right? Like
What do you mean?
like my methadone program.
No, I mean I'm taking Suboxone.
Oh, you are back? I thought you had stopped taking that for a while.
No, I've been on it for. Hell no, I can't stop.
Oh, we must have had a little miscommunication. I thought when you had left the clinic that you went on subs, but then you had gotten off it for a little bit.
Oh no, my doctor. She what was she giving me? I think she was giving me like 4 milligram strips a day. I take one strip a day.
Yeah.
And so I just stockpiled. I'd seen her for I think it was like 2 months,
Right.
and I had a fucking stack of them. So I was like, I don't need to go back for a while.
So you just didn't go and refill your prescriptions, and then
Yeah.
you didn't lose it though?
I just recently went back and got back in with the doctor. I was getting kind of low, so
They didn't question it or give you a hard time?
I don't know. Man, the doctors that prescribe this shit, that's all they deal with.
Right, that's so interesting to me though. Like you can leave and then just come back later and just get the script all over again. Like if you try to do it at the clinic, they give you a hard time.
Oh yeah.
You know, they're gonna do all whatever they do. They're gonna give you a hard time about it.
Yeah, to say the least.
You know. But-
The clinic is just extra strict for no fucking reason. I've learned that since leaving there. I mean, I get a 30-day script.
It is
I-
very strict.
I get to do whatever the hell I want. I mean,
And actually, I think you're leaving out though. To give you credit, man, is to get a 30-day script. I believe you got to have clean UAs for.
Not at a
Really?
doctor.
not for a doctor.
It's
no.
different. See, that's what I mean. It's different at a doctor.
Really?
Yeah. That's where I know a
didn't-
couple other people
Even at a
that.
doctor, you didn't have to prove like at least like for a week, 2 weeks, and then like work up that trust level.
Just put it this way: there is no point that I would have been able to prove shit.
Because that's what I mean. Like, if you stockpile them and then you leave and come back, you don't have to pass UAs or do anything to get back. That's what I'm saying.
They
Like,
expect you to
Wow.
fail a drug test when you come back,
Right.
Because you've been out on the street.
that's what I mean. It's crazy how it is. But then if you go to like the clinic, it's a lot harder.
It's kind of that, and that's goes with like everything in life. It's just like you can't find that happy medium.
Right.
You know, it's either too much leverage or not, you know.
Did you have to wait at all to go to a doctor when you left the clinic?
Nah, there's a lot of Suboxone doctors around here now. Mayo Clinic is the place to go for them.
That's interesting. I feel like more people are gonna start doing that if there's more around.
And shit.
It happens.
Oh, yeah.
That's the short-term memory life right there.
Yep.
A bunch of people with short-term memory having a conversation.
Yep. Oh, the trust level. That's what he was talking about, I guess. Like how the doctors basically give you free reign. I don't know.
No, I was gonna switch to something else.
Lost it.
It's funny.
I was
Well,
actually
I've been doing that a lot lately too.
just you're kind of having brain fog and stuff,
Oh,
so I can totally
absolutely
see
horrible,
where
man.
you're going through. One thing I wanted to ask though too, like, how about when you were in active addiction? Did you ever like steal or do anything like that? Because I know for me, I would take like different pills or things sometimes. Like, we had this conversation on my last or on 18 with Sam. She was discussing she would do that kind of, if it was a pill or something, but you're not taking like someone's computer to pawn it.
No.
You're taking drugs to.
And this, especially with being addicted to opioids and painkillers, it didn't matter whose house I was at. It seemed like I was entitled to everybody's medicine cabinet.
That's what it feels like, kind of. You just help yourself. You didn't?
No, I never really snooped through people's shit. Like, when I started stealing from stores and shit, I put one rule on myself, and that was do not steal from other people. I mean, fuck these multi-billionaires that
Right.
Yeah, I've heard you say that in the past one time too, that you're like, fuck these big companies. Like,
You gotta have a code with everything,
Yeah, I've never stolen from a friend or never.
that's a good way to be, though.
Absolutely, man.
Take from the rich and give to the poor.
I mean,
Yep.
I know how
Keeping it Robin Hood.
it feels to work for your shit, and I also know how it feels for your shit to be stolen.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want none of my friends or nothing like that to go through that.
Yeah, for sure. It sucks when your shit gets stolen. Sometimes you get injured, all kinds of things can happen, so it's just crazy. So, do you have anything else you want to add? Do you have any stories that happened to you while you were involved with theft or anything? Did you ever have close calls or anything like that?
I mean, I've been caught, yeah.
Do you have any legal trouble?
Right now, no.
That's why I was talking about it, because I knew that it was in the past.
No, right now I'm good.
Right.
Good deal, man.
So you did actually get caught a few times though, or how many times?
Probably 5 or 6.
Really?
Yeah.
And you never
sat a day in jail for it. No.
They put all these signs up like we prosecute theft.
Right.
The
We got a
stores can't.
6-timer here, and he's never sat in jail.
The stores can't prosecute shit. The DA. That's on the DA.
Exactly.
Well, this actually brings up a really, that all these mega, like Walmart, Walgreens, all them in these huge cities like San Francisco, Los Angeles and everything, that the policy, like how you just said, like they can't really do much. Like once you get off the premise or whatever,
Even out the door.
Walmart can't.
Right.
There
I
are
believe
stores
other
that will
ones
chase
that-
your ass all the way out to your car.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I have seen others though where they're not allowed to chase you though. Like they
Yeah.
say, leave them alone. Like don't.
Well,
Actually,
have you seen like in San Francisco and Los Angeles, they literally have to put chains, like locks around just everything basically now because, like CNN, I seen they were investigating like the theft problem in San Francisco. And as they're filming in there, there's people literally in the background stealing, walking right out the door. Like it's such an everyday thing now that all these companies are shutting down. But
That's crazy.
Actually, did y'all hear about the O'Reilly's employee that he just got charged with murder for he choked out a shoplifter. He strangled him.
That's crazy.
Oh.
Where was this?
I can't remember what city it was in, but I know it was from O'Reilly's.
That's wild. See, that's why they don't want you to do it though.
Yeah, and I do understand that. I really do. Like,
Well, yeah, it puts the employee at risk, and it puts.
if somebody's stealing to that, especially like in my opinion, like if it's food or something, that is a very desperate person.
Man, if it's food, just okay. So my last one,
It
my
was
last
in,
one from Woodman's. I got caught stealing. What was it? Pretty much some hot pockets and burritos. One of my good friends, he called me and he was like, "Man, I'm hungry. I haven't eaten in like 2 days." And I was making tacos. And she's like, "You're not giving any of my food to your friends." Okay, fine. Well, I was like, "But I'll be back." So I went to Woodman's and I got him a bunch of food and dropped it off to him. And about a week later, a cop showed up at my door. And he's like, "So what were you doing at Woodman's about a week ago?" He's like, "Don't lie, you're wearing the same hoodie now."
Oh no.
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 So I was like, "Man, I was hungry. I'm sorry."
Hungry thief, man.
What did he do?
He just was like, "You have a court date this day, and have a nice day."
That's crazy. Cause
I mean-
just because it was food, I mean, he's not gonna nail you to the wall over it.
Well, actually, Woodman's is trying to sue me over it, right? Like, I think it was maybe $30 worth of food.
It's got to be more to sue you than.
It definitely.
I
Yeah,
guess there's somewhere that wants to go after people.
I got a letter in the mail about 2 or 3 weeks ago saying that they're suing me.
So I guess the lesson
Really?
is you're not gonna go to jail, but you're gonna get sued if you shoplift.
If you're shoplifting, there's probably a good chance you don't give a fuck anyways.
Right.
I'll tell you what though,
Right.
getting hit with when you get hit in civil court like that affects a lot of things.
Yeah, civil court sucks.
I
But
mean,
it does not
credit
affect my
score.
student loans, and I'm a stay-at-home dad, so
They can't. Yeah, I suppose they can't garnish your grants or a loan. They definitely can't do that.
nope. I did get a letter in the mail. Thank God I closed my RCU account. I got a letter in the mail saying that they levied my RCU account.
Ooh.
But about 2 weeks before that, I moved all my cash to
But if that's
different
school money, how can they do that?
once the check is cash, prove it.
I mean, the bank should. It says right on your statement where the money came from.
I
My last one said Chippewa Valley Tech on the statement.
didn't.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's different. Like if you have a direct deposit or if you get it sent in the mail. I don't know.
That is true because my first one, it was just a check, and the second one was direct deposit. That's why I bet.
Okay. Because I'd say 9 times out of 10 nowadays, everything's direct deposit.
Says the service is temporary unavailable. Good old
Convenient.
apps.
Oh yeah.
Convenient banking apps.
Now that they're at the last minute they didn't have a government shutdown, that there's gonna be a lot of problems with the. I'm glad this is being talked about because how many times have I said like communication just seems to be just such a. We have all this information in this day and age,
Mhm.
but like it's what you get and how you get the information.
Well, there's so many different places that report the same thing, and it's just like
Yeah.
you gotta have somebody that's credible and knows how to report it.
And I think with the addiction to the cell phones, the constant texting, it's broken down communication so bad.
I think another problem is fucking video games. Like, for real, these kids are getting so used to just seeing people get killed and getting fucked up all the time that
Oh yeah,
it doesn't even phase them.
yeah. I always remember, as a kid, Grand Theft Auto. You'd always
When it
have
was a little
those-
dot.
Oh, the original, yeah. I think Grand Theft Auto 3 is when it, yeah. But I always remember there were those parents that like wouldn't let their kids.
That was my parents.
Okay, and then they'd be like, well, and then they'd make fun of you or whatever, because your parents won't let you play that game. Now when you're older, it's like, dude, I would never have my kids play that game. I mean, what purpose does that game like
When they're
teach?
young, yeah.
What purpose? I mean, it's actually I used to actually joke about that game because you could literally get with a hooker in the car, and then when you're done with her, you can kill her and then take your money back.
Man,
I mean, have we gone that deep into depravity, as a human race that
Kind of.
we need to. I don't know. I just think it really is messed up.
People want to go ahead.
I just walked in the house the other day, and my 8-year-old was in the strip club in a GTA 5.
And like, what do you think though when you see that? Do you think that it might create something for the kid, or do you feel like the kid knows the difference? Because like, for me growing up, I grew up in the country. I was taught about guns at a really young age. I was taught the difference between what guns are for and what they're not for, and the right and wrongs of things. So certain things we just knew early that's fake. That's not real. You don't do that. So, but growing up in the city now, city kids are often taught guns are for killing people. I've heard this from different people.
Like
And it's not a hunting scenario. So now you put them in a situation where they're doing that stuff on a game early. Maybe they're going to do something crazier at 16 than the guy who's hunting.
an 8-year-old should not even know what the hell a strip club is.
Yeah.
It all depends on how you parent, though.
No, I mean, I'm not saying it. I'm just saying, in my opinion, an 8-year-old should not absolutely have.
His 14-year-old brother kind of plays a part into that one.
Oh yeah, and that's
can't really control what he does.
Right.
He's my stepson. I mean, yeah, I've been there for him since he was 2. Whatever. But his mom, different time.
So you have, a stepson, and then the mom that's letting him do what he wants, and then your son, if you're gonna tell him no, but the stepson's doing it, it creates really weird, and especially like, you have a 2-bedroom apartment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the kids don't really have anywhere to just go off and like hide and be like, I'm gonna do this game, and the 8-year-old's not gonna see me.
Right.
Like it's not. They don't. If you have your own room, you can kind of create that too, where you can separate the 8-year-old and the 14-year-old some of their stuff.
And then, I mean, going back to the whole violence thing, like, okay, there's all the music now.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And then you guys just seen the Oculus you guys just tried VR.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A gun game on that shit, like, dude, it puts you right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think music has become one of the biggest.
yeah, it's
Kids and everything, exposing kids very early.
it's made it cool to kill people.
Well, the drill scene that started in like 2011, that it just seems like it's taken off from there because we'd never really seen something like that. I know, like growing up as a kid in the 90s and early 2000s,
I mean, we had like Lil Kim.
Gangster's
Right.
Paradise was
There
about
was-
it.
I mean, Lil Kim was actually some pretty raunchy music too back in the day.
yeah.
though. I'm.
definitely kind of that's about as far as it went.
But that wasn't as mainstream as
But-
Nicki Minaj and Cardi B and
No.
all these others are.
Yeah,
either.
that was a different subject.
Lil
like
Kim
that
was like some underground, like you knew it or you didn't kind of thing.
But she was more all about fucking and
For sure. But that's the depravity kind of stuff. Like,
wait, what song was that? I was just actually trying to think about that yesterday. What Cardi B had like the #1 song in
WAP?
2020? Yes, dude, I saw.
you know what that stands for, right?
Yeah,
have you seen the kids choirs singing this
that's
song?
what I was.
What
thinking.
the
You just said it, Bren. When I seen little kids that singing that,
hell
that's
no.
when I was like,
Dude, they
Okay,
got
what do we
kids
do
doing
now?
everything nowadays. Like, it don't matter what it
Good.
is. Let's create a half-edited version and let the kids sing it. Like,
I mean, my
Yeah.
favorite rapper by far is King Von.
yeah.
who?
King Von.
Oh yeah,
Like-
dude. That is, you know why? Because all those rappers that were not real
Yeah.
always like he was. I'm glad you brought him up, dude, because he was about as real as it absolutely.
Yeah, he
gets.
was out there doing that shit. Like,
Yeah, and then some.
So, when you were doing that, did you ever feel like it was a problem, or were you ever worried about anything, or
Oh.
were you just living and not really worrying?
no, I was definitely like,
Were you using drugs
yeah.
okay, because
I was using the money I would get. Like,
it gives you that false sense of like confidence, like, oh, I can get away with this, and
so a few of my friends, I mean, from the clinic, and come up to me. A lot of people knew I did it,
Right.
and they're like, "Man, my kid's birthday is coming up. I don't have no money." Like, all right, cool. Just give me $50. I'll take care of your kid for his birthday.
And what would you get though? Would you get like $80 worth of stuff,
Oh.
$100 worth of stuff.
I was getting like $300-$400. I mean, one of
For
my
that
friends.
50?
Really?
Yeah,
That's crazy. So
Like-
you kind of had it figured out.
yeah. Like one of my friends, I got her kid a hoverboard, and I also got him a remote control car. All types of shit.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah, you don't have to really list it.
yeah, just super all the shit that kids
Yeah,
would want.
just in general. Yeah.
I don't know. But when I would go home and start actually getting in my head about it, I was thinking like, man, I'm in really fucking deep. Like
That's what I was thinking. What impact does that have on you, your mental, and your family and friends? Like the relationships you have around you? Because it sounds like some people are probably just hitting you up because they know for a 50 they can get $200-$300 worth of material thing.
Yeah.
I
you
mean,
put
there
your
was-
freedom on the line and everything.
there was days that I would go home and I would just look out the window, just waiting for cops to show up.
Right? Oh, I bet. That's nerve wracking, dude. Like you do
Oh,
that
yeah.
and you get your like 50 and you go home and then you're just like, did I get away with it?
And it's because I used to have a hard time saying no to people. Like,
Yeah.
I used to try. I try to please everybody, and now fuck that.
So once they found out you were doing that and would ask, you couldn't. You just couldn't. But what's the worst legal trouble you got in? Probation,
Nope.
fines.
The worst thing that happened to me was community service, but that was during COVID, so I didn't even have to do it. Other than that, it's always been just court costs. That's it.
That's crazy. They'd really have you thinking you're gonna get it. And I'm not saying go do it. I'm not
Yes, I
trying to
was just gonna
condone
say,
this.
man,
I'm
like,
not.
everything that you gotta say.
I'm
it's
not
kinda like,
trying to condone this.
No,
Let's just say that right now.
'cause
But
do not.
it's
You don't want a
incredible.
criminal record.
no, but it's incredible to think that they aren't pushing it as much as they would like you to think, except for maybe Woodman's, who's gonna come
Yeah.
after you
I
till
wonder what's
death
going
do
on
us
with
part.
that too. Yeah.
When I got the letter for Woodman, that's exactly what I said too. Like, isn't it costing them more fucking money to to sue me for this shit than I actually took from
Sounds
them?
like they're trying to set an example. I don't know.
Have you ever had to apologize or make amends with anybody for it? Has that, or is it just kind of
No,
it's in
I've
your past and
I
you
haven't.
just
had to write any letters. I mean, I haven't had to do nothing like that. No restitution,
so yeah, even when you got that's interesting.
and I've never had to tell anybody. Just put that out there.
Well, man, if they were trying to get you to do that just over a little theft, that'd be pretty wild right there.
Be surprised, man. I just.
Oh, for sure. I'm sure they
Yeah.
probably have tried to get people to.
It's the whole psychological aspect of
Mhm.
like you get a new cop that's trying to make a name for
Yeah,
himself.
right,
it's,
right. He's like, I got this guy.
Yeah.
Right.
He's got a freaking sandwich.
I'm pretty sure the only people they really do that to is people that they know for sure are out there using drugs. And
Yeah,
like with me, you've never really been able to tell if I'm on it or not.
right. You just
I-
have that calm demeanor, though. That's why, and you don't carry yourself like I'm all baked and high.
No, I seen this fucking chick at Quick Trip. She must have been just super high.
Some people carry themselves like that, though. Like they want you to know when they're high. It's. I don't like that.
Like, she was outside in the parking lot pacing back and forth, screaming, yelling, and then she'd bend over and start looking at rocks and just being all fucking weird.
Yeah, you're asking for trouble.
I don't know how people can be like,
Yeah. Just that whole rock thing. That's funny because I've seen, in the past where people get really strung out on stimulants or methamphetamine, whatever it is, and there seems to be something to do with rocks that they obsess with.
Interesting.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was actually reading this one police report where they responded 3 times to this guy he was looking at rocks in the middle of the road. And he said he was looking for a special rock that was going to save the world. And when the cops got there the 3rd time, he fucking put it in his mouth and swallowed it.
What?
What?
Yeah.
How
what I'm
big was
saying?
it?
Like,
Like a
there's something to
pebble,
do
or
with
They didn't
is
say
it-
how big it was. They just said he put it in his mouth and fucking swallowed the rock.
That's crazy. So, I mean, actually, that's kind of an interesting segue into the next question. For both of you guys, like, what was the deciding factor that pushed you over the top into going into a program? Like, start with JJ.
Just being,
Like, was it
That's-
using every day, or was it like your addiction was,
I was so sick of the chase, the exhaustion that comes along with the whole lifestyle of it.
Right.
Like I think I said this before, and it's really they say, you know, in the 12 steps, like the 12th step is you have a spiritual awakening, and with those steps you don't necessarily have to go in order.
Right, for sure.
And I just it's kind of like how I got away from the clinic and on off methadone and everything like that. I was talking about it on and off for a long time, but I just did it. I'd had enough. I'd had completely enough, and looking back, it's just that's where the whole spiritual aspect comes, where you
Right.
don't know why you did something. You don't know. It's just it had to be done.
Mm-hmm. Same question for you, Brandon.
Hold on.
You're dosing in front of the camera.
I suppose it's legal.
That's your medication.
Yeah.
Um,
I applaud you, man, for talking about. You know, not everybody's gonna want to talk about, you know, going around stealing shit, and there is no judgment here. I mean,
None.
because that's a big thing with all of us that are in recovery, is we've had a lifetime of judgment. You know,
Mm-hmm. That's part of, I mean, it's part of why we're even here doing this, is because I'm overlooking all that. I don't care what people are going to say about me. Like, I've heard enough stuff said about me that you can't really say
Right.
too much that's going to hurt me anymore.
right.
So,
you never see it. You never hear it though. Right.
oh, I've
face
heard
to
it.
face, though.
Exactly, right. Nobody can ever say it to you,
Exactly.
for sure.
Exactly.
But yeah, my deciding factor to quit was when I had a son, when my son was born, like
When
I
was
don't
he
know,
born?
2015.
Okay.
Something just clicked. Like I held him for the first time, and I'm like, man, I can't keep being the same person I am now.
Right. Is that the year that you entered a program, was 2015?
I think so, cause I was in the methadone clinic for about 5.5 years, and then yeah, it's been about a year since I got kicked out. So maybe it was a little after, but I was on Suboxone before I went to the methadone clinic.
Okay.
But I had ordered a bunch of unwashed poppy seeds from Amazon, made some fucking tea, and yeah, I pissed dirty at that doctor for everything, and that doctor was super strict.
So it could, well, that was also a long time ago, though. This is 8 years removed from that, right?
Yeah, this was in like 2016 or something like that. So yeah, then after I got kicked off Suboxone, I wasn't about to go back on painkillers, so that's when I enrolled in the clinic.
So have you stayed away from painkillers
Yeah.
pretty much this whole time?
Yeah, I haven't touched painkillers. I mean, except for when I was in the clinic, and I mean, me and my family we went to the Dells one year. I mean, I think I had 6 5-milligram oxys with me, and made that last for 3 days.
So you didn't guest dose, you just went without it?
Yeah, I just took the oxys at the right time. I mean, wake up in the morning, just basically wait until you can't wait anymore.
Right. Yeah, that is the only real good way to do it when you're going through that situation, a few days without dosing. And what about you? You haven't used since treatment either, have you?
No, not at all. In fact, even when I was on the program, but you remember when I got in that car accident back in it was October of 2020, and I got T-boned, and she was going like 55 miles an hour.
Shit.
And even though my my left collarbone was broken in 3 places, and I was like hanging out the car and everything, in complete agony. It was on a Sunday, and I just remember they wheeled. I was in complete pain, but they were trying to give me morphine and all that stuff, and I was like, no. Because I know what that will lead to. That is my absolute demon, man.
Right. So you turned it down
Twice,
even
actually.
after an accident. Like that's knowing that you definitely can't do it.
Yeah.
You know, just staying right away from it.
And they're like, "Are you sure?" Because I mean, they knew, when you have a broken collarbone, and
But were you on? Were you in the program at
yeah,
that time?
I was.
So you did have a methadone dose.
But it
though.
was on a Sunday, and I didn't even get the dose that day. But
Methadone does sort. It's not. It's not the best painkiller though. Like it suppresses,
it
but compared to like an oxy or something, it is not the same.
no,
It did it for me completely. Like
For a painkiller.
yeah, it completely took away the want or anything.
Well, right, the want for sure, but as far as like physical pain, you're talking.
I really didn't have much.
that actually brings up another thing: is how much, like, for instance, me when I was prescribed all those painkillers many years ago, like there is where does it become where it's in your head, where I don't care who you are, you do not need to have like 90 Vicodin, 90 oxycodones. Like, it's just enough to sedate 3 elephants.
Yeah, I was getting 120 of them a month.
So I think if you take one every 4 hours for like 30 days, it comes out to like
Yeah.
180 or something like
I
that.
think it's 120.
Cause that
30, 60, 90. So four a day comes out to 120 a month.
4 a day, right? I'm talking 5 a day, even up to 6 a day.
Wow.
I hated painkillers when I first started. It was my cousin who.
You started with painkillers, or you started with street stuff?
I started with my prescription.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, with weed and shit like that.
Well, right, that, but I'm talking about opioids.
Yeah, no, I've been around the block with other things, but with opiates, I was getting 30 milligram Adderall, and then I was also getting 127.5 milligram Vicodin a month. I didn't like the
Wow.
Vicodin at all. I mean, the Adderall was my thing. But my cousin, she was already addicted, and she's like, just keep taking it, you'll like it. And
You'll like it, or you'll get dependent on it. Like
the scary thing about opiates, though, is that,
Do they give you energy?
oh, fuck, yeah, it did.
Okay.
But the scary thing about opiates is that you don't like it until it's too late. You don't know you need them until it's too fucking
Well,
late.
right, and then you try to go without it, and your body's like, you're just, oh man.
Yeah.
I do understand that in a way.
And that's that whole where they try to say there's a difference between dependence and addiction. At least for me, it literally took under 2 weeks to get a dependent, where my brain was like, okay, well, I kind of like this feeling.
One thing that I get that frustrates me is when I see people like on social media and places, and they will be just flipping out about their painkiller prescription or whatever,
Being taken away.
but all they're doing is screaming about how they're dependent and not addicted, but they're just sitting there going on and on. To me, when you're at the point where you have to, like, you're that chasing around and you're that stressed about it, that's crossing into addiction.
I've had full-blown
Dependency,
arguments.
yes, you need it to
like
get through
that.
the day, but you are not just constantly stressed and flipping out about it. That is addiction. Like, that's where that
Right.
line crosses.
Okay, I'm sure you guys have heard this one. Now, this one really gets me riled up. These people that have been on, like, painkillers for, God knows, like, some of them 20 years. And because now that they're starting to be very strict with them, their doctor, like, cuts them off him.
Yep.
Then they start blaming people like us. They're like, it's because of you fucking drug addicts that we can't have all these. And it's like...
But yeah, see what the fuck you turn into when they take them away.
Exactly.
No, it pisses
They're like,
me off.
well, I had a car accident in 1994. My third vertebrae was snapped, and it's like,
that shit should have been over years ago.
yeah. If you've been taking it that long, you're an addict just like us.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
For sure.
It pisses me off how the doctors are so. They don't give a shit. They're not sympathetic at all towards what
dude, I
they
could
did
go on
to
all
you.
day.
They
Like-
treat you like you're a piece of garbage.
But in reality, they're the ones that fucking did it to you.
Mm-hmm. But they expect you to be just like the other group of people that takes it as prescribed, stops taking it, and
Or
just
sells
goes
it.
back to life normally.
or
Yeah,
the people that
but-
fucking sell it and don't get addicted because they're not taking it.
Right.
Well, actually,
That's
I
not
know
every, like,
with the pain clinic. I know if you don't test positive for the opiates, you get you get it cut off.
That's an easy workaround too, though. I mean, you take a couple days in a row
Right.
before you go in, and
Right.
there you go.
right.
I mean, you sell what you can. You hold on to what, maybe 6 or 8 of them.
This is a great discussion because where does the responsibility lie?
Well, the doctors aren't going to put it on themselves.
Never,
They're going to put it on us for not doing it as prescribed.
Yep.
Did you guys? There was a show that was on. It's on Netflix, I think. It's either on Netflix or Hulu.
The OxyContin.
What about
People.
Yeah.
Dude, they're some ruthless
yeah.
motherfuckers, man.
They actually went around telling the doctors that it's not addictive.
Less than 1%
Yep.
get addicted to OxyContin.
That was
So-
actually good because the doctor on that one got addicted.
Yo, dude, the whole town in West Virginia. You know when they test out a new, whether it's a drug or a car, it doesn't matter what it is. You know, there's always a city in America where the test trials they get everything for free, and because when OxyContin, I believe it was 1994, is when OxyContin was invented, and then the towns in West Virginia where they're coal miners. That's
crazy.
backbreaking work. Like, like you can either get hurt really bad, or even if you don't, you're gonna be like sore at the end of the week, with a pickaxe. That is where it all started in one town in West Virginia, and within like 2 or 3 years.
95.
95? Oh, okay.
Close.
That was close.
Yeah, that's close.
I believe within like a year of all these test trials with OxyContin, pharmacies were getting broke into.
Mhm.
Just overdoses everywhere. The death, it was just absolutely crazy.
They have that on that. They have the coal miners and all that. It's more like a movie than a documentary, I
Yeah.
feel like.
It's a documentary, or it's a docudrama. That's
Yeah.
what it is. It's a television series, but it's all based on actual people.
Right. Yep,
And-
for sure.
Yo.
Talking about the overdoses, man, the fentanyl and shit that's out there now, like the street fentanyl.
It's
It's fucking
satanic.
insane. I mean,
Xanladine, they're putting that shit in.
who
That's
the fuck wants fentanyl in their weed?
yeah.
I'm on Suboxone,
Just-
so if I get fentanyl, it sucks. Trust, I've done it once.
Damn, that's actually crazy. If you are on subs and stuff and you smoke and you get some laced.
But here,
I-
that's the good thing though.
it's happened to me
Suboxone,
before.
as far as I know, it has naloxone in it.
Yep.
Right, but doesn't that put you into withdrawal?
For 1 hour.
Okay.
What the hell is the word for it? No, precipitated withdrawal.
And that is
Less.
really nasty.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
it
is.
makes regular withdrawal look like I don't think I've ever had it, but I've
never
heard
had
people
that.
that do. It's
That movie, they actually touch on that, and the girl is just screaming and screaming and screaming when it hits her.
Yeah, it was bad. I was at the laundromat doing laundry when it happened.
And it was only for an hour, though.
I remember
It's because it
I left my clothes at the
pushes
laundromat.
all of it out so quick.
I left my clothes at the laundromat, and I had to call my dad. I was like, Dad, all my stuff is at the laundromat. I don't know what's going on. I'm super sick. Can you please go and get my stuff for me?
That's crazy.
I was in the bathroom, and my son, he called his grandma. He's like, I don't know what's going on. Dad's in the bathroom. He's sick. He's crying. Like, I don't know what to do.
But at least it was short-lived.
Yeah, but it was, man, that hour felt like eternity.
Does that make you think twice about smoking and stuff, though? You don't smoke right now, do you?
No, I quit because of
Right.
school.
Oh, because of school?
Yeah.
Nice.
First time I went to school, I used to think it was cool to get high, but
Yeah.
I mean that was 12 years ago. I was still young and stupid.
Right. So you're trying to not smoke and be more focused?
Yeah.
For sure.
I have no willpower to sit down and do my homework and shit like that when I smoke weed. I'm just like, yo, I'm just gonna sit on this couch and stare at the fucking wall for 3 hours.
Right.
So, yeah, I had to quit.
So, JJ, what was your first impression when you entered recovery, and now that you tapered out, what are your impressions of it now?
My impression of recovery is.
I mean, your first impression when you went in, and then how do you feel about it now that you are tapered out and going through aftercare?
Going in, I for the first year it was. I mean, it seemed like everything was going great. I was just I found a steady dose. Everything was going great, but then when COVID happened, it seemed like just a lot changed. You know, I really I don't want to say anything negative about being in the program, but I just have my own personal issues with how it's like when you mingle with all these other addicts. In I don't care what it is, unless it's like an NA meeting or AA meeting. A whole bunch of addicts should not be thrown into one area at one time.
Right.
Okay, on Sundays.
Do you have an idea of how they could do it better though? Like they can't schedule
You said that right
doses.
too. Yeah, exactly.
No, people would be late all the time. Nobody would be on time.
I think it comes down to there should be people that have come off the clinic, and successfully and everything that should start being hired there. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know
That's a good idea.
if
Like,
any
Are you talking about like counselors or
Yeah,
what are you in what
counseling.
capacity?
people that just are the ones that make the decisions about how rules are.
The ones who lived it and
Yeah.
know what the experience is like.
Just like I feel like I would be best at being security at a store.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you probably would.
Absolutely, you would.
But then because you have a little record, they'd be like, we can't have you doing that. But you're like, I know everyone that's doing it.
Right.
Yeah. And that is a huge thing in this country too. Is it doesn't matter what charge it is. It seems like every charge, once you have that criminal record, it's like a life sentence. It follows you forever.
Man, people think you have head lice when you got a theft charge, though.
Yeah.
That's what they act like. Like,
Yeah.
get the fuck away from me.
Yeah, they do. I'm sure
Oh.
they do. Some of it you can't. And that's the problem with having a criminal record is. It like for me with me having a criminal record and I'm a felon. When I was hired as a CNA, she, who hired me, had a family member who was got his life together after addiction and all that stuff, and that's what it just takes is just somebody to just slow down and actually think what is the full story instead of just looking at a charge on CCAP
Right.
and not knowing the full story.
Right. So the same with you, Brandon. When you entered recovery, how did you feel? And then how do you feel about it now that you're where you are now and you've been through a clinic, you're not in the clinic anymore, and you have more freedom with a doctor?
I feel like the clinic was a joke. They really don't give a shit about you personally. They care about how many doses they can give out per day.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, I was kicked out of the clinic for being a racist. I didn't even do what they said I did. I got into a fight with one of my old friends, and I mean, this dude was my friend for 13 years, and
Was he not? He was different race?
yeah, and he accused me of calling him. He was black,
I get it.
and it was right in the lobby at the clinic that this happened,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody heard me say it because I didn't say it. But he just played that card. We were arguing. He's like, "Oh, you called me." Yeah, okay, dude.
Was this a few years ago too?
So there was no proof, and they never looked back on any camera or anything to make sure you said it, because they love to play that stuff too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep. No, they never looked back. Like, I went from being one of the favorites at the clinic to being one of the most hated.
because now they think you're racist, even though you didn't even say it.
I mean, my little brother's half black.
Right. Well, yeah, knowing you, I don't see you being racist.
No.
It's not something that I think that you are.
No, that's why I was really confused. But like, I always made jokes about it. Like, I got kicked out because I'm a racist.
So I mean, so you entered it, and I mean, how did you feel about it when you entered though? Like you felt good about it, but then now, because you said you were one of the favorites there, like you must have had a good rapport, and you got along with people. I know you had one of the better counselors before she left.
Tracy.
Yeah.
Actually, I just talked to her on Messenger for not too long ago.
Nice. How do you feel about the counselors at the clinics? Let's go there. I feel like we're all gonna have something to say about that.
I feel like,
Absolutely.
how the hell are you gonna tell me what I should be doing when I've been here longer than you have? They can't keep counselors at the clinic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but obviously for a reason.
Same
Right.
with nurses too.
But I
Oh.
heard with the nurses, they're just not re-signing them.
That sounds pretty easy to.
Well, think
that
about
sounds
it
like
though. If
bullshit.
that is true though, when you bring someone back on, you have to pay them more. Why not, instead of bringing people back out the door, we'll bring the next person in and pay them the same? We just keep paying everybody the same because we don't care about the people here. We don't
Well,
care
yeah.
if you're comfortable with the nurses and you have a good rapport. We're just gonna do what we want.
Yeah, because that is what I'll say about that clinic. Is that's the only thing I can really say that was like positive is the nurses.
Right.
But
yeah.
they couldn't seem to ever keep them there.
They still don't.
A
They
lot
still
of 'em.
cycle through.
And
Actually-
like I said, if you don't, people don't even want to take our word for it. Just look at the reviews on Google.
Mm-hmm. I still think it's funny that one girl told me to turn around, and she told you too, didn't she? In the UAs, that one younger girl.
When?
Remember standing at the toilet, and she said you have to turn a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah.
That girl's the only girl that ever said that, though.
Not to me.
I've never had anybody else say that to me. Just that one person.
I've had, I think it was like 3 or 4 of them tell me that I
Really?
had to face the camera.
That's crazy, man. I've only had that one girl try to tell me to turn around. Like,
like I said, that's not a problem for me. But I could see how if you have a huge problem with that. That almost kind of seems borderline
Yeah. Obviously, I know you're watching the monitor now.
Right.
So
right.
And if she's not saying it to everybody, it's like
It just seemed weird to me.
Yeah, well-
like
I started having fun with that camera in that room after that.
I know you told me that. Like, I mean, if you got the ability to
Oh,
do
dude,
it,
that's
do it.
funny,
You know, like
A few extra shakes and a wink. Yeah.
like I said, man, that place is pretty much like you're signing up for a probation.
Yeah.
oh, think about the counseling
Actually, there's
situation
more
too,
rules
though.
I think at the clinic than there is for you sign up for
when
probation.
you the counselors there mostly have what, associate's degrees? It seems like
Probably.
maybe some bachelor's degrees.
Man, I'm sure a few of them got in there and didn't even have a fucking degree.
But it's like once
Yep.
again we're discussing like counselors being the low end entry level counselors are the drug counselors, and then the family counselors, professors, and all those are your masters and PhDs.
Mm-hmm.
But why do we have all these entry level counselors working with some of the most difficult cases?
Because
Yep.
that is.
I mean, you can't tell me that people further up wouldn't want to work with these type of cases. Is it the pay? Like, why does it stay such entry level?
I think it's probably
Because-
the pay.
It's probably the pay and it's the environment, and that's the biggest thing that I don't miss, man, is the whole energy of the
You think that
place.
once you go to school for 6 to 8 years, you don't want to deal with addicts anymore? You'd rather be like a family counselor or something?
Well, not so much that.
It's just something that I've been trying to understand more, is like where these entry level counselors
It's kind of
are
like
in these
here's the best
positions
way
so
to-
much.
I think this is the best way to put it is when you get like a Section 8 housing area, whether we're not saying like every single person in Section 8 is going to bring trouble,
Mm,
mischief, whatever,
right,
but it's going to happen.
right.
And it's kind of like when you go to a methadone clinic, there's going to be turmoil.
Because I mean, my experience
You've
with
been to one, you've
counselors
been to
has
them
not
all.
been all that good. Like I've had 15 counselors, and
Holy
only
shit.
2 of them were by my choice. The rest have just been flipped around because that's how much counselors are moving through these clinics. Metro, I had a bunch. Up here, I'm on my 4th or 5th one. Like, they just don't stay. And that last one I had told me she was going to stay for a long time if I switched to her. She was gone in 11 months.
Who was that?
I'm not going to say her name, but she was one of the new ones at the clinic a year ago.
I'm not afraid to name drop.
She took over. Well, we try not to.
Yeah,
on
we
here.
don't do that.
It's just something. I mean, if you want to, that's you. It's but
okay.
we try not to.
The real skinny one that's been there for a long time?
No. I don't even know if she
No,
wasn't.
I have.
Oh, you're telling us. Okay, go ahead.
Dude,
The short, skinny one.
with the really long hair?
Mm-hmm.
She is so damn two-faced. It's ridiculous. Like, she acted like she was my best friend during our sessions. But then when I was getting kicked out, totally flipped against me. I
TJ
mean,
went through the same thing.
she made it look like I was a totally different person.
Mm-hmm. That's what they do.
Like,
Absolutely. They pick and choose too.
This is the thing I feel like with them counters and the addiction thing. Like they like you and they're cool with you as long as you're doing what you're supposed to. But the second there's any issue with you, now you're an addict again.
yep.
Now you got to get treated like that addict again.
I actually disagree with that because I've seen favoritism by that place. I mean, violence is like a zero tolerance thing there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Is it though? Because when you got in your stuff over that, you didn't have any violence, and I just got called down a few weeks ago over violence in the parking lot, and they said we can't do anything. It's in the parking lot.
What the
See,
fuck did you
it's-
do, bro?
I didn't do it. I was a witness.
Oh.
see,
Me and like 2 other people were outside, so they called me down to ask me about it. But then when they said we can't do anything about it because it was in the parking lot, I was like, now you're not making any sense.
Yeah.
Because other people do stuff like this and this, and you're kicking them out of here. But now these guys are out
not
there doing
just
this,
that,
and you say
people
you
have been
can't
kicked
do
out
anything.
multiple
Yep.
times for the same thing, and then
Right.
they're brought back after like 30 days or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember one of my friends. He was stuck at the clinic, and there were these dudes on their way that was gonna come beat his ass.
Mm-hmm.
He knew they were coming. He was trying to get out of there. They wouldn't let him come back in the clinic, and they said, "Well, there's nothing we can do about it because it's in the parking lot." But at the same time, like about 6 months earlier, I got accused of selling weed in the parking lot because it was a Sunday. And remember how we had to stand outside in line for a while?
Mm-hmm.
I was showing somebody pictures on my phone. I don't know how they could have mistaken that for me selling some fucking weed, but I got pulled into like 3 different offices, and I kept telling them, no, watch the cameras. I kept telling Jill, that's who it was, watch the damn cameras. You'll see me pull my phone out of my pocket and go like this to somebody.
Right.
And finally, they were like, okay, so we were wrong. But why the fuck are you going to come at me for selling some weed when you see I had my phone in my hand? I mean, unless there were some dollar store cameras.
So they actually really did go look that time, and they found out they were wrong.
Luckily, yeah.
You know what I think happened? I think somebody got caught doing something like that, and then they tried to tell on 3 and go free as they,
Then I got into a fight with some other dude in line. I think it was his first day. And not actual fist, almost that real close. But I was already having a shit day, and I was next to Dose, and dude cut in front of me, and I'm like, hold
Oh, God.
wait the fuck up. No. I was like, dude, I've been here for years. This is your first fucking day. Well, I just got done talking to my counselor.
That's the end of the line at that.
Yeah, I
clinic.
was like, that doesn't mean shit.
That's not front of the line.
What was it? I think it was like 2 or 3 days later, he got kicked out for bringing a gun to the clinic.
Oh, okay. And
He's like, oh, I know that
Yeah,
story.
that was back in 2020 during the whole COVID lockdown. Yeah.
So, just real quick, someone caught in front of me once there. This wasn't too long ago. And it kind of became a big deal. And when the administrator, she found out I was involved, she was like, oh, it's you and him? Well, he did it then. Because she knew I didn't. because I don't do shit like that. I don't accuse people of shit like that or nothing
Right.
there. So when you act a certain way, they will treat you a certain way too. Like she didn't even bother to dig further. As soon as she saw it was me and him, she said, "Well, he did it." That was it. Like that's
Damn.
crazy.
Wow. So the dude actually just said, the guy pointed at you? And
Right,
said,
like
"You
he
did it?"
actually did cut in front of me.
Right.
So I said something, and then he started flipping out and yelling, saying he didn't cut, and look at the cameras and bet $100 I was here. But I just seen him come in the door from outside.
One
So,
thing that pisses me off about that place though is people
Wow.
saving spots for other people.
you can't
Yeah,
do that.
yeah,
You
yeah.
can't do that with software anymore. So
With what?
we got software now. You check in
Really?
with your phone from the parking lot.
What?
Yeah.
And you know,
Shit.
Yeah, on Sundays I drive by at 6:30 in the morning and check in, and then I leave and come back at 7, and I'm like third or fourth.
Damn.
I know.
Still,
I haven't been there in years either now. It's kind of like,
But that system was on the wall for the last 4 years, and they
Yeah.
just got it working this year. Like that's messed up.
I remember during the COVID thing, we had the freaking circus tickets. You remember that?
Yep. Man, they kept going on and off with them fucking things. Like,
Yeah.
one week you'd have to do it, next week you could do it, following week you didn't have to, then it was start over.
Yep, get in line and take an order.
I just started taking a ticket every day.
I pissed a lot of people off when I said this, and I was like, I learned to stop cutting in line when I was like in kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yep.
For sure.
And to know that this is still an ongoing issue does not surprise me.
One-
Especially there.
Oh
one,
yeah, that's
one
what I'm
person
saying.
one person told somebody that was flipping out, there's enough methadone here for everybody.
Yeah, they act
Well,
like
that's
it's like you don't get in there at a certain time. You're like, yep, it's all gone.
That's what they need to
We're gonna
realize.
dump it down the toilet.
For some reason, that comment kind of changed my perspective on it. Like, you know what? Yeah, who the fuck cares if somebody cut in front of me? I get it if you're late for work already or something, but
Oh yeah, the people that
I mean,
had
if
to
you're
work
waiting
fast.
and someone deliberately cuts in front of you in line, that's BS.
yeah, I mean, it depends on the
What I think
circumstance.
is funny is these people, as you're like slowing down to turn in, they gotta come flying up on the left and rock the brakes. They're skidding almost, and then they shoot in front of you, and you're just like, all right, if you need to go that bad, go. Like, you
Right.
feel good almost getting in an accident over it, fine. Like,
It shows the different levels of they're at, the different levels of where they're at in sobriety or recovery or whatever.
And maturity.
right?
Yeah, maturity is a
Like,
huge thing.
Like, everybody should
That's
know
what I
that.
could not handle there is that gossip bullshit.
Oh, I know.
Well, you should realize that they're not going to run out of methadone. Like, you're not going to not get dosed unless you have personally done something to give them a reason. It won't be because the methadone is empty.
Right.
Well, there's those times where you go in there and there's only like a couple people. It's really rare. But I remember, I don't know why they weren't dosing. I don't know if she had a dirty UA. I don't know what. She started flipping out, and like, it's like when she was just told that she could not get her dose, then she just started puking. It's like, it was just all a show, and she literally started eating the sole of her shoe, and then I'm not kidding. And then they were like, the doctor there just was like, okay, just dose her. And it's just like right there that the whole addiction thing, it's like you're acting like a child
That's
until you get what you
crazy.
want.
Did you really say she started eating the
I'm not
sole of
kidding.
her shoe?
She pulled out the sole of her shoe and started eating it. And I'm not, like, she wasn't just chewing on it, she bit it off. And I was just like,
I hope the shoes
whoa,
were
I
at least
came
new.
here at the wrong time.
Right?
Man.
Like, BO taste and
Uh,
shoe sole.
Damn.
They even called the
You didn't, though,
ambulance.
because you act, dude. It's not necessarily the wrong time, though, because you're witnessing the different things people are going through.
Yeah.
Like, I don't judge that, but I am very curious to see the different ways people act and the things people will do to try to get their way.
Yes.
mean-
And a lot of times people have been doing this for so long, it's subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even know they're doing it.
I can relate to once you're turned away, that mindset does change. Like, you can go from being just fine to I'm fucking sick as shit because
Yeah.
I know I'm going to be sick as shit.
Right.
It's kind of like, here's a good subject. In jail, did you crave as much?
I didn't use before I went to jail.
No, I mean, like, you remember, you've done jail time.
Oh yeah.
At least when I did, I noticed I didn't really crave. Because I knew I couldn't get it. It shows that whole mental...
You're just talking about in general? Like
Yeah.
for cigarettes or whatever?
Yeah, just anything.
Cigarettes, yeah, a little bit, but that's only because I knew that there were fuckers in there that had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of finding
It's
it.
expensive, though.
Yeah, it
Right.
is.
You get popped, man, it's... Yeah.
Probably better off with like a little dip or something.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
that's what
Now
I'm
they
saying.
got nicotine pouches, right?
Yeah, that's why I
They
just
allow that
heard.
shit in there now?
That's what I heard.
I
That's
suppose
in
the pouches, it just it probably keeps the people that have nicotine dependency more calm.
Shit.
You know,
Well,
if it's,
But it's expensive,
I bet.
and
Probably like
once
30
that runs
bucks
out,
a little tin.
I mean, it's not cheap out here either. I just
Right.
paid $100 for a carton of smokes.
yeah, that's
$100
why
bucks.
I
Yeah.
don't chew like I used to.
Yeah, it came up to like
Well,
$94.
Even cigars have gone up like
Everything's
$2,
gone up.
$3 a piece for sure. Because I'm noticing that the cigars are more expensive too, and I hate it.
Can't even get a fucking little Debbie anymore for under $1. Remember, they used to be a quarter.
That's true. What kind of are you still having like cravings? You know, like a lot of symptoms, or like how you're 4 months removed right now, right?
Yep.
4 months, a little over
Yeah,
4.
nice.
Yeah, May 19th.
It's like, how are you feeling right now at 4 months removed?
Some days are better than others, but the brain fog, the irritability, all of that comes with the post-acute withdrawal. I'm really dealing with really hard.
Right.
And that's why, like I said, you went through it and you've been a great help through it. Like, you understand. And that's the biggest thing with addiction and recovery is just having somebody that understands.
Well, I mean, I'm still healing from symptoms I had with pause from 5 years ago still.
Yeah.
I mean, I went back. That's why pause is so freaky, is because I went back
What is
post-acute
Post-acute
withdrawal syndrome.
syndrome,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
I went back in mid 2019, and since then it's 2023, and I still have not fully healed from some of the symptoms I had back then from 8 months of post-acute withdrawal. That's where it gets a little bit scary.
Yeah, your story scared the shit out of me. I remember you
And-
telling me about that now. Like,
That's where you got to be careful because everybody is different. Like, literally, as keyword, like, everybody is different.
Right.
Like,
Like, you're doing a lot better than I was at 4 months last time.
Yeah.
And I left at 11 milligrams against what I should have done, and you left at even higher, 17
Really?
against what you should have done.
yeah, and it wasn't just that either. It was like benzo. I was on a benzo, just taking it as prescribed every day, and I'm still really feeling the.
what
You know.
what helped you get through it? Like, what did you do every day to try to not think about it?
The big thing has been this podcast. Is putting all this energy into this has been a godsend. Just I've really learned the valuable lesson of it's been said for a long time is taking it one day at a time. Sometimes it actually gets so intense that I got to take it 1 minute at a time,
Right.
if need be.
So do you still wake up in the middle of the night? Like,
Oh, the sleeping thing is the biggest problem. That's what I miss the most is being able to sleep because it's like not only am I going through like all of this where my brain is healing from years of just it taking a pounding from drugs. It's just like I wish I could get on a regular sleep schedule,
Right.
and
It
I know
is
it will
hard.
come.
do you try like melatonin or anything like that?
I tried just about everything for a while there. Like nothing would work.
Was it like the restless leg and?
Yeah, the restless leg.
Dude,
Just
I get it in my chest.
yo,
Oh God, I can't handle that feeling.
and this is a big thing I've been dealing with actually. We were talking about that yesterday, where you get all these labs done and everything, and they say you're so healthy, and it's like, man,
Yeah,
people are
yeah.
even saying like, God, you look so good, you sound so good, and it's like, but I don't feel good.
You don't know how much I've heard you look healthy, your labs are healthy, whatever, but I am going through some major stuff with
Yeah.
my body.
And I think that's where the whole talking thing really, I brought that up before, man. It's like us as men, especially anybody who's our age or even older, the older the generations go, man. Like the more we didn't, talk about our feelings ever.
Right.
Right.
Like, what did you hear growing up? Probably the same thing we did.
Fucking walk it off.
Yeah, exactly. Like, suck it up.
Yeah.
So with now Brandon, with you, I know that you have some struggle with support like around your house and different things. So what are you doing like to get through school, to stay off opioids and stay focused? Where are you getting your support? Where are you finding that balance to stay focused?
I turned that non-support into I'm gonna prove all these fucking people wrong.
Right.
Nice.
Keep telling me I can't do it, please, because that's what I'm using to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've always been like that. You tell me I can't do something, okay, watch me.
For sure.
I think my dad is probably my biggest support. I mean, he is always, I'm proud of you.
Right.
Like, you're making some huge steps. He lets me know that he's watching.
That's good.
That's really cool, man.
Do your kids give you support too? I mean, are they like encouraging now that you're in school and stuff, or do they give you a hard time because you're old in school, or like what is that like?
I love my kids to death, but they're assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They. I mean, they're kids. They don't give a shit.
Right. I mean, some kids though, they see you doing things and they see through it and can offer that little bit of support. Like they're watching too.
I mean, I know that they're watching, but they don't really say much. I mean, they're more focused on what they want to do.
Video games and virtual reality.
Kind of at that age where.
I mean, I spend pretty much every single night doing homework because I can't even start doing homework until they go to bed.
Right.
I mean, it takes a good half an hour. You know that to even start to get into your homework.
Yeah.
So once you get into it and you hear, "Dad, I'm hungry," or "Dad, my brother's being mean," or it's like, fuck.
Now you can't
So,
focus.
yep.
And every time. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, so yeah, I've just learned to not even start homework until after they go to bed, which
Right.
is like 9 o'clock, and then homework takes about 6 hours a night. So
For the kids or for you?
for me,
Oh, okay. I was like, man, you're doing that much with 2 kids and then doing yours?
hell
Like,
no.
wow. Like,
a half a sheet of times 5
yeah.
for my youngest. I mean,
That's not bad.
No.
Have you had any like setbacks or missteps at all since you've been going through this, or you went from the clinic to the Suboxone, and now that you're in school?
Converting from methadone to Suboxone, that was kind of a challenge. I mean, even when the doctor was like, "You're ready," no, I'm not.
So they were telling you you're ready, and
Yeah,
you were saying
because-
I'm not.
What was it? I think I left the clinic at like 2 milligrams, but they were tapering me down, like pretty much cutting my dose in half every single day for 2 weeks.
What?
Yeah.
Where did you start that at? Like 50 then, or like?
No,
Do a
I
blind
was
taper?
I was at no. They don't do blind tapers anymore.
They did in the one I was going to in Alaska.
They told me that they don't do
I
them.
know that this brings up another thing is how they lie and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because that was a huge reason how I was able to taper.
But yeah, like as far as setbacks, I mean, well, you already know I got a lot of shit going on at home. I mean, it's a lot of arguing. But my instructor, he's been really, really cool through it all. I mean, he handed out these little coupons to the whole class. He's like, you get one late assignment a semester. Anything else, I'm not accepting it. But he's like, I understand life. So I went and talked to him after class, and he's like, all right, well, just if you have to turn in your assignment late, try not to make it too late. He's like, I'm not going to take out points or anything. He's like, I understand how life can suck sometimes. And he's like, just do what you can. And I mean,
That's good that he's working with you though.
he's held up to his word so far.
Right. And then you can put the kid stuff first if you need to, or you have an issue. So how? I mean, I guess for both of you, like, how do you both feel about relapse right now? Because anybody that's been in active addiction can relapse at any moment. But if you do the right things and you are focused and you have balance, you can stop it from happening. You know.
Well, you're the one not on anything, so.
You know, that's just where like I still it brings back the whole like spiritual awakening of I just don't. I know officially at this point in my recovery, dude, that I cannot. There's never a little relapse. It's never just okay. I'm gonna use a little bit today and then maybe not tomorrow. It's it's gonna be bad. It's
Right.
gonna be really bad if I do. And
I mean, if you do now that you're not on anything anymore, like you would
oh yeah,
get into it more.
I have learned that I got a pretty good understanding what addiction is after all these years, and all it takes is a little bit for that monster to get a taste of whatever it is.
It is way too easy to get back into it, but it's extremely hard to get to where you're at now.
Yeah, and then is what I learned is I had been sober for 9 months,
That's awesome, dude.
and this was like back in 2018. I was completely sober for 9 months, and I hurt my back. Like I hurt my back really bad, and I took I found an old expired Vicodin, one Vicodin,
Yeah.
and all of us that have taken enough painkillers to kill an elephant over a lifetime, we would think that one Vicodin is not going to do a damn thing. Yes, it will. Yes,
After
it
9 months, your tolerance is gone.
Yes,
for sure.
and the next day after taking that one Vicodin, I wasn't obviously withdrawing, but I had awakened that demon. I had awakened that monster, and and I was already out looking for more painkillers, and then it was just absolutely insane.
And it's like you go on autopilot. You don't even think about it anymore. You just start looking at your phone. Like,
yeah.
man, I lived on autopilot for years. Now, I mean, taking Suboxone's a little different because I know I can't touch anything else.
Right.
If I do, I'm gonna be sick.
Mm.
I also like not being high, like not having to be high.
Right, where you can have a sober mindset.
Yeah,
And you're okay.
I knew it was an issue when I had to, when I was waking up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning just to take more pills because I couldn't even sleep through the night anymore.
Right.
That's when I'm like, fuck, I need help.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I remember those days really well.
Mm-hmm. So do either of you have anything else you want to add today?
No, actually, you being on Suboxone, I tried that a little bit in the past, and what I did like about it, what I think is really cool about it is totally different from methadone, where I remember it absolutely, how like when you're on methadone, you are inebriated, You didn't get that from, at least I remember I didn't get that from Suboxone.
Right.
And
you shouldn't get it from Suboxone.
You just gotta find your number.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, mine is 2 milligrams twice a day. Once in the morning, once at night. I'm good.
Because with how many friends have you lost to overdose?
Honestly, I'm one of the lucky ones. Like one.
Really? Okay. Well, that's what I'm saying is what I do like about Suboxone is it's set up to where it's impossible to overdose on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
you can, but you.
Yeah, you'd probably really have to try. I don't know, but because it has that naloxone in it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're.
But if
compared
somebody
to when we were kids, this fentanyl shit, and now it's not even fentanyl.
Yeah.
They're cutting it with something that's non-resistant to Narcan, which just is.
That's fucked up.
Beyond fucked up. I mean, I don't know. We have moved into.
Basically, we have a fucking serial killer making our drugs.
Yeah. I mean, it's just absolutely terrifying.
It's crazy.
And it just seems to happen right after this comes out, right when Narcan is readily available for everybody.
Right.
Yep.
You know?
Actually, I just hit up the vending machine at the police station the other day. Or at the jail.
That's good, man. Everybody
I
should
think
carry
everybody
those.
should carry
Yeah.
it. Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
Yeah, they fentanyl test strips for free. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just like one of them old ass vending machines, but you go in,
Right.
you press the number, you get. I think I got like 4 boxes of Narcan and like 3 packs of fentanyl test
Crazy.
kits.
But yeah, it's better to be safe. Anyway,
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just remember that recovery isn't for everybody. And when you reach to the point that you're in a program, you've rewired your brain, you've changed your body a lot. So you need to
Big
be
time.
able to give yourself time and compassion and heal. The harder you are on yourself, the more you push yourself through that program and try to push yourself out, the worse it's going to be on you.
I feel like recovery is for everybody, but you just got to be in that certain state
Right,
of mind.
you have to cater it to yourself, and
You have to want it. You have to be
Right.
ready.
and you have to find a balance. The more, if you're trying to fight one way or the other, you're not going to get where you want to be. It's going to be a hard fight all the way. I learned the first time,
Right.
pushing myself through, and just I hate this, like
And everybody's got to find their own way of doing it. I mean,
right.
Because
It's
people
not
get
a
clean every day.
one-size-fits-all.
It's just
Mm-hmm.
we don't want to. It's looking at the positive of the thing,
For sure.
Yeah, there's been many days where I don't know how the hell I got through it, but I did. I'm still
Right.
standing.
Thank you guys both for being here.
Always.
Yeah,
Ryan and
thanks,
JJ, I appreciate both you guys coming out today. And thank you all for listening. Please like and subscribe. Stay happy, stay humble, stay healthy, stay safe, and make good choices for yourself and those around you.
and stay off drugs.
Do research.